I've done a few movie reviews, but none were as painful as My Tiny Universe. The way I want to describe this film is The Room, but nowhere as charming and likable. But again, the only reason The Room is liked is because it's in the so bad it's good category. This film, on the other hand, sits in the it's so bad it's terrible category. My Tiny Universe tries to be a dark comedy that tackles subjects like suicide, infidelity, and the ruthless Hollywood system. Besides the fact that all the jokes fall real short, the acting falls way shorter. Before I rip this film into fucking shreds, let's go over the shitty plot, not that there's much to it. Okay, so in the beginning, the central character is narrating the opening shots, and thankfully he's interrupted by a phone ringing. Here we get the first shot of the main character, Dickie. Yep, he sure looks like a Dickie. Anyways, we see that he is trying to kill himself because he has issues. What are those issues? Issues that could cause someone to kill themselves? Something with ending it all? Well, that'll be discussed a bit later. Anyway, let's continue. He answers the phone, the fate that stops his self-demise. The other end of the line spews some dialogue that's supposed to make sense later. The keyword is supposed to. Either way, he can't pull the trigger now and gets in his car and drives home. Later in the day, he calls again, reaching the wife of the owner of the phone. We all come to realize the phone belongs to the biggest producer in LA, Bobby DeVillain. Hold up. Really? His last name is DeVillain? Either way, let's move on. Dickie agrees to exchange the phone for the money reward. The only stipulation is that Bobby needs to pick it up at his place. Dickie now gets a phone call from his ex-girlfriend, and she is yelling at him because he sent a suicide note to her. Real dick move sending it to her and all. The main point of this scene is to set up the girlfriend to arrive later in the plot. While Bobby makes his way to Dickie's place with his driver, Dickie decides to call a few numbers on the phone.
Is this Tom? Are you on your jet right now?
Does a bad De Niro taxi driver impersonation.
De Niro? Your career was over, man, after Taxi Driver anyway, you know? Are you talking to me? You must be talking to me, because there's no one else here. Are you talking to me? Are you talking?
And shoots his TV. He also downloads all the contacts in the phone onto his computer somehow. I'm not too sure how he does it. All of this takes place around 2004, so it's not like he had a smartphone, but it was a damn flip phone. Bobby gets to Dickie's place and Dickie just fucks with him the entire time. Not very cleverly or anything, citing his lack to live as one of the reasons he won't take the cash reward. The limo driver takes the phone away from Dickie. Dickie then reveals his plan to blackmail Bobby. He has all of this on camera, and explains that the phone contacts are all at his computer. And all of this for what? Nothing really, he just wants to fuck with Bobby. The reason he wants to fuck with Bobby? Well, it's basically the same reason he wants to kill himself. Before I get into that in detail, I want to note that while all this comes to light, Bobby's mistress comes over to Dickie's place because he called her over for the very reason to fuck with Bobby. Okay, now the reason he wants to fuck with Bobby and kill himself is because he's a failed actor. He believes that the Hollywood business is after him and doesn't give him his time of day. This is why he wanted to commit suicide. He sees Bobby as an outlet to take out his frustrations on Hollywood. He's Hollywood embodied. It really is a shitty excuse. He goes on this monologue that explains to Bobby's wife. Yeah, you may wonder how Bobby's wife made it to the apartment. It doesn't really matter. The film keeps adding people to the plot and it's just really messy. Either way, his monologue is really shitty. It's supposed to make us empathize with Dickie, but not really. Not even a bit. He also has a line where he calls George Clooney a hack.
That big fight with George Clooney.
He was hogging the camera on my lines.
You were the new kid on the block.
Yeah, well, so what? They had it in for me. They're out to get me from day one. The producers didn't like me. They wrote me out like 3 episodes.
Okay, fuck it. Let's get done with this plot. So the wife pulls a gun on Bobby. Everyone goes mental, and Bobby and the wife end up in the bathroom. Dickie has a camera in the bathroom like a huge perv that he is, and we get the wife accidentally shooting Bobby in the arm.
Terrible, suicidal career move. Come on, I can't let you do
No! Okay, I'm out of here.
No.
The situation diffuses and Dickie jumps off his balcony and shoots. Everyone thinks he has killed himself. He lives though. The girlfriend goes down to check on him. Did I mention the girlfriend is there? No, I didn't, because I'm tired of explaining this shit. They both hijack the limo and drive off. Dickie gives his closing monologue and the film ends. Alright, there's some shit I want to highlight from the film. Dickie is a shitty lead character. It's not only because he's unlikable, so that's kinda how the film wants to portray him, but the acting is strange. It's hard to pinpoint. They have scenes where Dickie is sporadically moving and being strange. There are scenes where he makes coffee and throughout the film he's supposed to act like someone who's over-caffeinated, but it's not very convincing. Honestly, I didn't know that's how he's trying to act until after watching the film. He has a ton of character flaws that don't match the direction he was set up in the beginning. It's also funny that whenever someone is drinking from a cup, you can tell that there's nothing in there, like the scene where he drinks coffee. I don't know why they didn't make any real coffee. Maybe it's because they didn't have enough money in the budget. I know that the film had a low budget. I never think that takes away from a film. As filmmakers, there are obstacles that have to be overcome, budget being one of them. The problem is that budget on this film seems like they spent most of the money on the actors and the set. About 90% of the film takes place in Dickie's apartment and the street entrance. The scenes that are not in the apartment are very few and look like a 10-minute drive from the apartment itself. I don't think it's extremely terrible, but it's not great. The film is laughable at times. The strange dialogue, all the acting is stale and wooden. The prompts are so fucking laughable. The setup for the film is terrible. The plot holes are abundant, and the explanation for those plot holes are just terrible. I don't think anyone should watch it. If you're curious, check it out. I'm not sure how easy it would be to find. The score I give it though is a 1 out of 10. It really is the worst movie I've seen, and that's not an exaggeration. I can usually find something to like in a film, but not in this one. Maybe it's good for other people. With all that being said, I have to give it up for the writers and directors. They had a vision and went for it. More that can be said for others that have a vision. The writers and directors have worked on other projects that were okay. The problem is that they worked as producers and editors. Making a film is hard. Making a good one is even harder, so I do applaud their effort. This film, not so much.